Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to Season 3 of the Mindshare Podcast. Additional podcasts are available at mindshare101.com and on all the major podcast platforms. This week's episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems and the Buzz Conference. Make sure you connect with the Buzz Conference by visiting their website, www.thebuzzconference.com, and by following them on Instagram at The Buzz Conference to get your tickets for Recharge 2022. This is taking place on January 13th at the Mississauga Living Arts Center, and this is going to be another loaded event. You are not going to want to miss it. In fact, be sure to keep tabs on all the awesome events they host, along with getting the latest copy of the Buzz Digital Magazine. The Buzz Conference is a leading voice in our real estate industry. And when was the last time you checked out the Kit's Cross-Channel Marketing Suite? This is your full-on marketing tool set, starting with Loop CRM, built for realtors by realtors to help keep you organized. It's got the most personalized and effective direct mail marketing newsletters, delivering response rates of over 35%, email newsletters, websites, social media content, our super easy 3-click landing pages, complete with automated action plans, and so much more to help you manage your business, generate more leads and more referrals, and build that mindshare to drive even more sales. You can learn more on my site, mindshare101.com, by clicking on marketing. And as you know, we have been on a push to get to 100 reviews on iTunes this year, and so I would like to ask you, if you haven't yet, please take 2 minutes to rate the show, leave a review, and we are making it super easy for you. All you have to do is go to ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Again, that's ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. As always, thank you in advance. Today's episode is number 159. He is a 15-plus year veteran of the real estate scene in Sudbury, Ontario. Born, raised, and educated with an honors Bachelor of Commerce, as well as a major in marketing, he is a broker and office manager of Sutton Benchmark Realty and has carved out a successful career focusing on pushing the industry forward through innovation and creativity, while becoming a modern-day real estate renaissance man by learning everything from photography and videography to social media marketing to graphic design in order to offer his clients a complete experience. He is also an avid volunteer in the community as the current chair-elect of the Sudbury Real Estate Board, as well as the longtime president of the Health Sciences North Volunteer Association. It's this dedication to his profession and his community that helped him earn the prestigious 40 Under 40 award for Sudbury in 2017, being recognized as one of the city's rising stars. This week on the show, I am joined by Sudbury Realtor, Adam Haight. Adam, welcome to the Mindshare Podcast.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you?
I'm great.
This is awesome, man.
Beautiful snowy day up here in the north.
Yeah, well, you guys are like 4 hours north of where we are, so we got snow, but we get like the dusting. You get the dumping, right?
Yeah, that's right. You're kind of forced to like skiing up here. That's the way it works. So
that's cool. Do you do a lot of skiing up there?
Yeah, actually I do. We both cross country and Nordic, and I got the kids in it now, so it's great. Everybody's having fun, so nice, it's awesome.
Man. Yeah, very cool. And it's good, man. It's fun. It's good to have you here. I mean, today we are doing a Facebook Live. We've got Zoom going. We've got Instagram Live. This is actually, I got to tell you something, bro. This is the first time we are doing an Instagram Live for the Mindshare Podcast.
Wow.
So I guess
look at that.
It makes sense. We're talking about awesome Instagram videos today. So this is good. We're already doing one. Maybe you can take this and you can turn this into some of that cool stuff that you do, which we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Absolutely.
But tell me something beyond what I just shared about you, who you are, what you do. Tell us just a little bit more. Tell everybody, like, who is Adam Haight?
Well, I'm kind of a normal guy, and that's, that's the cool part. I'm happy being normal. You know what? No, honestly, I'm just, I'm born and raised here in Sudbury, obviously love the North, love my city. I'm an avid real estate guy. I love tech. I love music. I love outdoors. I love sports. I'm a martial artist, all kinds of great stuff. My kids are awesome. My family's awesome. Just one of those guys that likes to get up and kind of like look at life and say, okay, like what can happen today? What else can we get into? And there's And that's, like I said, we're probably going to talk about this a little bit more later, but that's probably what led me a lot into the creativity part of the Instagram stuff. I've always been a why guy. Let's put it that way. So, when I was young, you can ask my parents, it was like, you get up in the morning and it's like, hey, you got to wear this today. I'm like, why? Why do we wear this today? We're having this. Why? Like, why can't we have this instead? Why can we make it a little bit better? And that's kind of been my mindset my whole life. So yeah, having the platform to do it now is pretty awesome. So yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I am I'm a big believer of asking the question as to why. So I love the fact of the why guy. And I'm gonna leverage that today. But a very big important question I have for you right now.
Yes.
It's going to be one of the toughest ones, like, of the entire show.
Man, I'm ready.
I know that you're a diehard Leafs fan.
Yes.
And forgive me to everybody right now that is not in Toronto. I mean, if you're in Canada, I know no matter where you live, you're a Leafs fan anyways. For those of you that are listening down south of the border, I know football is your jam, maybe basketball, but I mean, the Leafs are like the team. Anyways, dude, seriously, do we believe that this team is going to be making it past the first round this year?
David, I believe.
Yes.
I believe.
All right.
It's going to happen. You know what? See, there's the mug. I love it. So, I got one upstairs. I should have brought it in. It's amazing. No, honestly, I think this team this year has a chance if we can avoid kneeing our own players in practice and keeping them out for 3 to 4 weeks. We've got a shot. We've got a shot. Jake Muzzin. I love you, brother, but what the heck?
Larry says not happening. Larry, we need people to believe, man. We need people to believe.
Oh, come on, guys.
Dude, I'm just, it's one of those things where you watch them winning, you watch them doing, you watch Matthew scoring now. Everything's sort of ticking. I love the defense part of it. Defense wins championships. There is a fear, though, around the fact that we will not make it past the first round. And then to me, none of this matters anyways. But
well, and see, that's the thing. But you know what? I think this year we've got Soupy in the net there. He's doing fine. He's the guy that's he's kind of carrying the load when the offense isn't doing it. So, if you can have a hot goalie going into the playoffs, round one's easy. Forget round one. I'm going for the cup this year. This is it. Call it right here.
All right, done. I love it. Like from your mouth to like the universe's ears. Let's make this happen. But back to the topic at hand here. You've been in real estate 15 plus years. Have you been selling since day one?
Day one. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Where'd you get the first deal from?
My first deal. Okay. So, it all started, no, I'm just joking. So I actually started on a team, as a lot of realtors do. So, I had I got out of university, a brief history of my career. So got out of university, got into the finance portion of business. So, loans and mortgages and all that good stuff. And was doing that with a major company. But you know what? It wasn't giving my creative freedom that I wanted to. It was the desk job, the 9 to 5. And I actually ran into a guy who was extremely successful in real estate here in Sudbury. And, I ended up playing on his softball team is what happened. And one day I was bitching about my job or whatever it was. He said, why don't you try real estate? And I thought about it and maybe a week or two later, I'm like, yeah, I'm in, let's do it. You know what I mean? Because, it's going to give me the ability to use my, my marketing skills, some of my financing skills, my, people skills, get to meet different people. It's not a 9 to 5. It's not a desk job. Something I've always been attracted to. So that was the start in real estate. So the first deal actually came from the team, you know what I mean? So it was a team generated lead. And I will tell you that, no word of a lie, my first deal was it was one of those people. I showed 40 houses in 30 days. Like, he wanted to see everything in his price range. I'm like, I've only been in this for a month and I know this house is not going to be a fit for you, but he still wanted to see it. So I worked extra hard for that first deal. That was my first deal.
Isn't that the way it goes? It's putting in that extra effort that a lot of people, as they move through their careers, all of a sudden stop putting in because of complacency. But, I bring this right back to one of the things you just mentioned there was, you joined a baseball team. And this to me says that, your career really started off by creating some strong relationships, which opened up some new opportunities, right?
Absolutely.
So back then, this is 15 years ago.
Sure.
What kind of marketing were you doing?
Oh, geez. Paper, print. So, what's interesting is you look at the evolution of real estate since I started and 15 years ago, that's that's really not that long ago when you think, like, if you had a kid 15 years ago, he still can't drive. You know what I mean? So it's not that long ago, but the change that's happened has been incredible. So the marketing that we were doing back then were postcards. It was a lot of telephone marketing, like literally call people, as many as you can. That's like when phones weren't used for just texting, you could actually like dial them and stuff. It was kind of cool. A lot of phone marketing. We did all kinds of, trade shows. Like trade shows were a big thing. So if you can get a booth at a trade show, you could talk to people. It was putting yourself in front of as many people as you could. Of course, networking, Chamber of Commerce, that kind of stuff, any of those functions, those events, those were the things that you could try to go to as many as you can. So, obviously things have changed a little bit since then, but that's where we started with the marketing end.
Okay. So to that, then, if we say that, you were doing some print back then, but one of the things you just mentioned there was getting in front of as many people as possible.
Yes.
What's different today about our marketing than it was then? And when we talk about 15 years ago, look, you look at Facebook, 06, 07, Zuckerberg started that thing. So it's not that far removed from where we are today in terms of 15 years. It hasn't been around forever, but what would be some of those big differences then in marketing specifically? Have we still got the same MO, the same method of operation in terms of I got to get in front of as many people as possible? But
that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing, Dave. Like I think the principle's the same. The method of delivery is different, right? And in the fact that, and especially, in the past 2 years with the pandemic, if you don't know what you're doing online, you're going to be missing out on a lot of opportunities. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't still be in front of as many people as you can, in the community, whether it's, I'm an avid volunteer, that's what, or whether you're joining a baseball team or you're trying something different, or, you're working out at the gym, or, real estate's the kind of thing for me that everybody likes to talk about. And, I'm sure any realtors out there listening right now have gotten the same question, like, how's the market doing? That happens all the time. I get that all the time. And, it's one of those questions that, even though you don't feel like answering it all the time, it's one of those questions you have to answer because, it's the one that everybody knows about, and putting yourself in front of those people, having those conversations, I think is vitally important. So yeah, the MO is the same. You're still trying to get in front of people. The method of delivery, slightly different.
Now, does that mean that it's been added onto, or does it mean that the whole thing has changed drastically to say, I'm only going to go down this road? Or is it, do you feel, and the way you're operating, is it a mix of everything kind of in there?
Yeah, no, I think there's still a mix of things for sure. I hate to say it to all the, the print people out there, but a lot of print advertising, is probably gone by the wayside a little bit with the development of social media and everything else. But, there's still something to be said about, getting a flyer into somebody's house, even if it's for 2 seconds before they throw it in the trash. There's that kind of stuff that's the top of mind advertising. The outdoor advertising is something that's always still been, present and like omnipresent. I think now we have the ability to add on more so in terms of, the social media part of things. And again, having that creative freedom to do what you want. And basically, you don't have to go through anybody else to advertise at that point. When you're doing your social media, you're in charge of your own stuff, which is kind of cool. So that's definitely changed and added on essentially. It's funny. I was thinking, when I was prepping for this, 15 years ago, I don't know what the other real estate boards were doing, but we used to have these books. Okay. These were the listing books, and they came out.
You're talking about black MLS.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
MLS tear sheets. Yeah.
So we had listing books, and they were like, 300-page books or 200-page books. And they would come out like once a month. Okay. And that was your month's listings. So you can imagine being a realtor and having to wait to the next month to find out what the new houses were that were on the market. Like in this market in Ontario right now, forget about it.
That would never fly.
No, you'd be driving around. Like I honestly, if I was still in that, if that's what we were dealing with still, I'd be in my car like 24/7 driving up and down the streets to see what signs were out there, because at least I can get the information faster. So it shows you that evolution from and those were honestly just being phased out when I was getting in. So, it's not like, that was the predominant method of finding your listing information, but yeah, no, to go from listing books that you get once a month down to literally getting, listings within seconds of it hitting the market. Shows you the evolution of what we've dealt with technology here, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's as you mentioned about even with the marketing, this is about the addition, adding on, so leveraging, and this is where I come back from, building my share is that idea of around leveraging both the offline and the online, the cross-channel approach. We know that from a print perspective, there's a misconception that it's dying, but we also know millennials see it as a bright, shiny object. So it's interesting, right? We know that it'll last longer than a social media post necessarily will. People will be able to hold on to it longer than an email, but there's a definite need to be able to use it a cross-channel approach and then go after your audience. Now, speaking of audience, would you say that most of your business comes from people you know or people you don't know?
At this point, 15 years in my career, there's definitely more referral repeat business. But for the longest time, it was definitely people I don't know. And I still get lots of business from people I don't know, especially, when I'm reaching different audiences through different marketing channels, which I've been making a big push to do in the past year. So yeah, I mean, it's a combination. I think, if you're an established realtor, somebody who's been in the business for a long time, it's safe to say that you're definitely, if you're half decent at your job, you're going to get some repeat buyers. If you're not, then, they're probably going to go somewhere else. But yeah, so, I mean, that to me is probably the main source of business, but there's a nice mix there for sure. Still this point, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing the social, you're connecting with people, you're talking to people. Just very quickly, like what are some of the other things you are doing for marketing?
For marketing, obviously, like I said, outdoor advertising is something that I still think is super important. And the reason why is that you're not just catching. Chances are somebody's going to walk by your sign and not going to be like, oh, I'm going to buy a house today. That it's not going to work that way. But when they do see, when they do think about buying a house, then, maybe that top of mind advertising is there, right? So if you can do something creative or something eye catching, throwing your name out there, when you introduce yourself the next time, then, maybe they know who you are. So outdoor advertising is still something I do. I still believe in mailers. I think they're important as well. Like I said, there's something about, having something in somebody's house, whether it's, a magnet or, like whatever it is, whether it's, a postcard, it could be anything. And, even that, I've taken a bit of a different approach, and it's not like selling myself as much as it's an informational piece. When I go and do my mailers, I will target an area and specifically give some stats for that area. And that's my advertisement. It's like, hey, here's some information for you. There's some value there, and that makes them, hopefully want to hold on to it for a minute longer than, just right in the trash because it says, hey, use me because I'm the best. Maybe they flip over the card, maybe they look at my name, and then, maybe when they do sell, it's time, or one of those stats catches their eye and say, I can get whatever for my house. What if I, get them over to take a look at it? So I believe mailers are still super important as well. And then of course, contacting, past clients, all that other stuff too. Keeping in contact is super important. You never want to let anybody go by the wayside. So I take a very different, well, maybe not different, I guess, but, an approach where, I like to create strong relationships with my clients. To the point that, there's many of them that I still text and contact, outside of, it's been years since they bought a house, and we've created friendships, and that's kind of important as well. So,
and there's the key is the relationship building. Yeah. The support marketing, not just using one channel. Like, again, we're going to get into your Instagram account in just a second here.
Of course.
But I know one of the other things that, as I was looking through the bio and just knowing from you, I guess the question to it would be, why do you spend so much time volunteering? How does it benefit your business? And why should everybody that's tuned in really try to find ways to spend some time giving back?
Oh, man. Okay. So, I can honestly say, David, volunteering is probably the single thing that has, turned my mindset of my career around more so than anything. And it worked really well for me. So I started volunteering, I want to say probably 11, 12 years ago at the hospital up here at Health Sciences North. And it was the kind of thing I was sitting there one day, and it was slow market, and I had a little bit extra time, and thought to myself, I'm like, you know what, like, I'm going to define myself as a realtor. What am I, And I'm like, okay, well, I love the city. I love Sudbury. I've been here my whole life. I love the lakes. I love being around the city. 170,000 people. We've got all the amenities you ever need. So I'm like, that's going to be me. I'm going to be the guy that promotes the city and helps the city any way I can. I actually did a home evaluation for this lady who happened to work at Health Sciences North in the volunteering department. Now, I didn't end up being a client at that point. She was not ready to sell, but I made that connection. And I said, you know what? Let's give her a call. So I gave her a call. I said, do you have anything that's available at the hospital for volunteering? And she said, you know what? You'd be a perfect fit because of your business background to sit on this board. And I said, well, board, whatever. It sounds boring. I wanted to do something a little more hands-on kind of thing. But I got in there and we honestly, what we did is we ran businesses within the hospital. So sitting around that board table every month, eventually ascending to being the chair of the board, was a really different experience from my 9 to 5, or sorry, not my 9 to 5, my real estate career where I'm kind of all over the place, to go into an office environment.
Yeah, real estate, 9 to 5, 40-hour week work. Right. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, no. So it was a beautiful compliment to the chaos that is real estate life to have some organization and sit around a board table, right? So, and it taught me a lot of different things. I made so many great contacts over that. After that, I got into the real estate board, and that's the other thing. I mean, anybody who's listening that's a realtor, I highly encourage you to somehow get involved with your real estate board. It again, one of those things, it was a career defining moment when I jumped in on the real estate board, because you really get to see the behind the scenes part of what happens in real estate. And, so many of us are just like, put your head down, try and sell a house. But there's a lot of other, governing stuff that happens around our provincial board or our Ontario Real Estate Association up here. There's different events that are happening. You're able to network with different people in different parts of the province, and you get referral business off that too. I mean, when we were doing things in person, I would go down and Dave, I shook your hand down there, I'm sure, like down at the last reality conference. And, it's we get to meet people that are in your industry. So, volunteering, hands down, one of the best things you can do, whether you're in real estate or not. But for me, it's something that I strongly believe in. And my wife volunteers, my 7 and 11-year-old, we even get them volunteering from time to time. So it's something we're going to be instilling in our family. I think it's super important. Yeah.
It's definitely incredibly important. We know that, life is all about giving back to others. And the more you give back to others, the more I know it sounds woo-woo to a lot of people, but the more that you give back to others, the more the world and the universe and others are going to give back to you. And you can't do it to expect anything in return. You've got to do it out of the, genuine thoughts and feelings that you've got to be able to give. But when you do that, you get to meet a lot of people. And as you were saying it, it's sort of in my mind, I was going, referrals come through all shapes and sizes. And I know a lot of the people that do get involved with the boards, they all of a sudden, talk about building mindshare amongst your peers. That grows immensely. And then people start having trust in you. They believe in who you are. You're not just some other realtor, but you're now somebody who's been part of the board. They look to you as somebody they can talk to, they can share
Absolutely.
with, maybe do some business with. And again, You're opening up more opportunities. So it's, killing two birds with one stone. I mean, you're volunteering, you're doing it for something that you're actively involved in. You get to help make it better. I mean, we could go on to the advantages and benefits of it. But, it definitely goes a long way. And I'll even say for me, volunteering to coach baseball, volunteering to coach hockey.
Absolutely.
I'm not doing it to get business from anybody. Zero.
See, and that's the key. To me, Dave, that's the key too, is that you can't be in there just to, hobnob with whoever you want to, hobnob with. That's not who says hobnob anymore? That's a great word.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. You can't be doing it to go in and try to hug business on the back end of things. You got to do it just to do it.
And you know what? I've seen people that have come into boards or coach teams, and it's clearly for a different agenda. And that's not what it's about. And that's the thing. It has to be a genuine interest. So don't sign up for a board or sign up for a thing that you're not interested in. Like, I love coaching baseball, just like my son. I coached my son's baseball. I think that was great. And I did
the best thing ever.
best thing ever. You know what I mean? Watching the kids develop and all that, and playing and having fun and being involved in all that stuff. And, same with jujitsu. I mean, both him and I practice jujitsu. And so
luckily we're on like a virtual here just in case something went wrong. I didn't realize that side of you.
Yeah, exactly. You want to see an armbar? No. So, I mean, going to tournaments and supporting the kids and the team that are there, like those are things that are priceless for your family, but they do wonders for your business as well. And it wouldn't be authentic. And I think that's a key word here. It wouldn't be authentic if I didn't enjoy, doing those things as well. So don't sign up for something you're not interested in just because you're trying to get business, because it's transparent. You'll see it. You'll see right through. People will see right through that.
Well, again, and all of that comes together to really build up. I mean, as I always coin it, as building mind share, but it's that idea of getting yourself out there so that people know who you are. You're building relationships with people. You're doing it across different channels, and you're doing it in a genuine way. And I mean, look, everything should always have some support, right? There shouldn't be just volunteering or just mailers or just social media or just email. There's got to be a combination of everything. And when you've got that right combination, now you're going to be in front of the right audience, delivering the right message across the right channel. Now, speaking of that, rolling into what our topic is today, I want to get you to define and sort of explain and break down your Instagram account for us. First and foremost, for everybody tuned in right now, if you have not yet, whether you're on the live stream by Facebook or Instagram, or those of you in our Mindshare Masters VIP room, or you listen to this recording on any of your favorite platforms, Adam's account is at Adam Sells Homes. So again, go to Instagram, Adam Sells Homes. Be sure to throw him a follow. And specifically to our convo today, go check out his feed. Okay. I want you guys to see what he's up to. I mean, this is what caught my eye. We've been doing some other stuff together on the other side of things. But that's where Adam and I connected on Instagram. And then I got to look at the videos. I'm like, what? How the hell did you do that? What the? And now I'm sitting there going, wow, this is interesting stuff. And so this is exactly specific to our conversation today for everybody tuned in right now. I want you guys to go and see what he's up to so you can have a reference to what we're speaking about, the creativity that he adds in, why it caught my eye, and why I wanted to share what he's up to. I want to help you all add a whole bunch of wow factor to your Instagram. And, as we look ahead and we think, about all the social media platforms, right now, Adam and I are running like a whole bunch of different lives, as I mentioned a few times here. But this is what it's about now, right? Yeah. It's about having the video on. It's about connecting with other people. As we talked about what's transpired over these past even 22, 23 months now, it's all led us to really, really take this next step in getting involved on video. And so, getting involved and being part of it, how do we add it in and how do we be creative? And that's one of the big questions, right? So when did you first start using Instagram? Because it's been around a little while. When was the first time you actually started using that?
Yeah. So Instagram for me, there's no doubt. I mean, I started Instagram, I had an account, probably like most of us here, probably had an account that sat there and did nothing for years. And, kind of wondering like, wow, what's this? How come it's not Facebook? Why does it look different? Why is it, why is it only pictures? Why does it, this is dumb. I can't say things, and so, that's kind of like, I mean, I had one that sat there for a while, but, as they've evolved, I've evolved with Instagram too. And so, hardcore, I've been using it for about a year and a half, and really hardcore about the last year. I made a commitment, last year to say, okay, let's really push the envelope here on what we can do with Instagram and see where we can take this thing. So yeah.
It's funny, because I remember for me, and I don't even remember like when I first started my Instagram account, I'd actually have to open it up and go back to it. But one thing I know from the Instagram account is when I first did it, I didn't know what I was doing with it. I didn't know what I wanted to put into it. I mean, it probably stayed there for a couple of years without me doing anything and having like one picture up. And then finally we decided, okay, let's get involved in this thing and let's really go at it hardcore so that we can start, getting involved and being part of it. But there was also something to be, finding your groove and really finding where's your comfort zone with this whole thing. So how did you do that? Like, did you know what you were doing right off the top? How did you find your groove? Are you still finding your groove? I mean, there's a lot of people that want to be more involved in Instagram. They've got a goal to be more involved in Instagram, but it's like they don't know where to start. How did you build up your confidence? And how did you get to this point where you're like, okay, I got this process? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this sounds not sexy, but it was trial and error. It was a lot of trial and error, and that's what it was is getting the groove. And that the other thing to keep in mind too is that platforms like Instagram have an algorithm, and an algorithm. I mean, for those who don't know, you should know what an algorithm is, but it's something basically Instagram is going to promote certain feeds or certain hashtags or certain based on the methods that you use them. So it's always a moving target. So to say that you've ever fully got your groove, they make sure you don't. So just when you think, oh, you know what, I've got it nailed
well
down.
said, man.
Yeah, I've got it nailed down to 18 hashtags. These are 18 is the ideal number, and if I post at 7 a.m. and if it's a video, and if I do reels twice a week, then everything's going to be good. And then, the next month they come out and the creators live comes and they'll have like something and like, hey, guess what? We just introduced this new thing and we're going to be focusing on 5 hashtags rather than 18. And, it's, now we're focusing more on video and not on pictures, or we want carousels, or we want, so there's always a moving target. And that's maybe some of the allure for me is saying, okay, like, can I get there quickly and keep those maintain those same levels of engagement, right? And making sure that the posts are still doing what they're supposed to be doing. So yeah, to say that you've ever really got your groove, probably not. But it took, absolutely a lot of trial and error, a lot of getting myself on camera. That's a big step for a lot of people, is putting yourself in front of the camera. I don't look good in camera. I don't want to. It doesn't matter, dude. I don't look good on camera, but it doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the best part.
Okay, so couple questions there. First of all, I love what you said about the trends and bringing that up and just trying to keep up with it. And I will say one thing that I had answered somebody the other day who had asked me on a training, and she said to me, she says like, okay, what about these trends? And I said, look, she's like, hashtags, what should I be doing? I said, use them. She's like, that's it. I'm like, yeah, because if you're going to continue to try to keep up with what Instagram tells you should be using for hashtags, you're going to get lost. You're going to spend way too much time trying to just be, owning the Instagram channel, and you're going to lose sight of all the other things that really bring you business. Because this can be a full-time job, for me and my team as marketers, as strategists, beyond the coaching and everything else. This is our world, is marketing. So we dive in and we do follow those trends. We do look at those things. We go, okay, this way, like there was that time it was like, if you do 4 reels every 7 days, your account's going to grow like immensely, right? And so you try testing these things, and it's like 8 hashtags, 15 hashtags, put them in the comments instead of in the post. And it's like, whoa. Yeah. If I keep trying to keep up with all these trends, I'm never going to do anything else.
Well, and you know what? You said it could be it is a full-time job. There are legit people that, there's all kinds of people out there and great people that know this stuff. And, by all means, if you can't swim, don't get in the pool. You know what I mean? Like, hire somebody to help you out with it. But there's always something new. If you've got the time to follow trends, follow them, but follow them, like you said, the best that you can. At the end of the day, it's more important that you get good, authentic, relatable content out there. And the rest will take care of itself. If you have good quality, the hashtag is not going to make a difference. If you've got a good quality piece of marketing, you could put, as long as there's something relatable there, in terms of a hashtag, it'll take off. It'll be fine.
Okay, cool. So then tell me this, in terms of getting comfortable, how did you get comfortable with video? What did you do to actually get yourself to that point?
Practice, lots of practice, man. Like, get yourself on screen. And it doesn't matter if your first videos get no hits and they suck. It doesn't matter. You will find a stride. And it's to me, it was just literally having to take that first step of turning on the camera and recording yourself doing something, whether it's trendy or not trendy. Look on TikTok. There's so many people doing crazy stuff on TikTok, and it's like really next to nothing, and they're getting like thousands and thousands of likes. There's no reason why you can't follow one of those trends and start there. You know what I mean? Like, if you see something that's not too intimidating, that it's either on Reels or on TikTok or whatever the case is, grab that trend and use that. So if you do that, and that's what I did anyways. Like, I saw, the one, I think there's the one where it's like, a smile without your eyes, and then then yeah, and then it was like,
we did that one.
you know what? You did that one too. Yeah. So that was one of those ones that I jumped on. I'm like, you know what? That doesn't look too intimidating. I'm sure I could do that. So I did that, and you get a few likes, you get a few comments. It doesn't really matter at first, but when you're building that momentum, it's about. It's about getting comfortable and making mistakes and not being afraid to make those mistakes as you start.
Okay, so let's talk to it, because the purpose of today's episode is those awesome videos that you record. And we talk about getting used to video and doing video and getting comfortable on video and jumping in video. And I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that you do that I have not seen from a lot of other people. Cool. Maybe I'm just following the wrong feeds, but I will say that you've got some very innovative stuff. And again, I'm saying to everybody, Adam Sells Homes on Instagram, check it out. Look at the videos. I mean, find the video where, he's standing out of the front door and he somehow spins in the door without opening the door. Like, I just don't get it. The other one where like you're by the water and I can't see it in my head right now. I can kind of see it, but like you threw something and I think it was a camera or something. There's like 7.
Oh, my lockbox. I was skipping my lockbox. And then I'm like, hang on, I can't skip a lockbox.
How did you do that? Right. So like, okay, there's the question. How do you do all those awesome videos?
So,
I mean, without like letting the cat out of the bag too much here and everybody bite your styles, but hold on. I will say this too. And to everybody tuned in, follow this one right now. Most people will listen and learn about what we're saying. Most people will not implement jack shit. So my message to everybody is here, don't be most people. Listen to what he's teaching you and see if you can incorporate it. See if you can take some sort of variation of it and put it into your business. But again, and this is the back to you, Ad, is that a lot of people listen to this thing, they'll never do anything with it anyways. And it's unfortunate. Yeah. We're not putting it out there so people do nothing. We're doing this so people do something.
No, and you know what? I encourage people, and let me start with this, Dave. And I think we had a little bit of this talk off camera, that the reason why I started doing creative videos on Instagram is because about a year ago, I sat down and I was looking through realtor feeds, and I saw a lot of just sold, or just listed, or a picture of a bedroom or a stock photo or a template, and I'm like, guys, this is great. I'm glad you're doing something, but it's boring. It was boring. I'm like, maybe we can up the ante a little bit. Maybe we can, incorporate something cool that's entertaining. Because I mean, you think about it. I mean, you should absolutely promote your listings, and you should absolutely promote yourself on Instagram. But if everybody that's a realtor, and there's like 80,000 of us here in Ontario, is promoting the same things, how long is it going to be when, Joe down the street gets on their Instagram feed and says, oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another. I'm not going to follow him anymore. It sucks. It's boring, right? So my thought was like, okay, maybe when he's scrolling through the feed, he can learn something about real estate in a creative way. Or maybe he can catch onto one of my carousels that's got some humor to it. Or maybe he can get into one of these incredible VFX videos and it's like, wow, how do you do that? And then I'm top of mind, right? So
that's the one I want to know. What do we call it? VFX? I like
video FX. I mean, that's just short. I mean, you can call it SFX, VFX, whatever you want, the special effects, FX. Whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Talk to us about it though.
Yeah. So I mean,
and I know you don't have like, you can't exactly show us the editing, but if you sort of walk us through, like how did you spin through that door?
So how did I spin through the door? That was let me start by saying, like, everything that I use, I'm a huge Adobe product user. Okay, so I have the Adobe CC suite. So that is something that it was an investment for me. Costs like $1,000 a year. Yeah, it's not cheap, but now I've got Photoshop. I take my own pictures. I've got Lightroom. I do my own videos. Premiere Pro is a huge one, but most of the video FX stuff is done through After Effects. So that is the program that I use almost exclusively for those things. So that one, like where I was spinning through the door, it was simply a matter of me grabbing my iPhone, nothing crazy, setting up on a tripod, taking a shot of me standing in front of the door, taking a shot of me inside the door, and then going into After Effects and applying some different effects to make myself look like I'm spinning into the door. So
you didn't actually physically like spin.
I wish I could, but no, I can't.
Okay. No. I mean, not like, I mean, obviously with the way it showed up, it was very different, but I mean, there wasn't like a physical spin that you had to do to pull that. This was about having you out front and actually putting it into the system to create that.
Exactly. Yeah. So the shot was the simple shot of me standing in front of the door. It was actually one of the easier shots that I've done. me standing in front of the door and then opening the door, obviously in the direction that I was going to spin, because I mean, that made a lot of sense to do that. Then when you get into the back end stuff, there's a couple of little effects that you can throw in there. And it makes it look like everything's kind of warped, which is kind of cool, right? So that one actually wasn't that tricky. There's some that I've done, like there's one
that looked like crazy. I was still sitting there, and I mean, even though you explain like the programs, it's like, yeah, I don't know how to use those programs.
YouTube, man, YouTube.
YouTube University. That's a good point. That's a good
honestly, point. And I will tell anybody that wants to get into this stuff, there is a world of knowledge out there on YouTube. Any of the stuff that I've done, I don't have any background in graphic design, education, any of that. This is all self-taught. So everything I've done is self-taught, and it's like anything else. When you start learning the program in and out, then you start being able to do things on your own as well. And it's not just about following tutorials. But yeah, for sure, I follow a lot of tutorials. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube that I'm not rewriting the script. I'm just modernizing it to and making real estate a part of it as well. So that's kind of what the MO is here.
Okay, tell me about the lockbox then. How does that? I mean, first, did you throw it in the water?
Yeah, no. So that was a rock, actually. Yeah. So
the tricks of the trade.
Yeah. I broke it down in 2 shots, and so that was 2 shots. So it was me throwing a lockbox on the grass, because I'm like, I'm not throwing away lockbox, like $40. You know what I mean? So I'm cheap. So anyway, I so I threw the lockbox. It bounced on the grass, and then I went down to the lake and I skipped a rock. And then I also threw a second rock that didn't skip and made this massive splash, right? So then you go into After Effects, you crop out. Yeah.
Wait. Is that when you're throwing it? Talk to me about the tech now. So when you threw the lockbox on the grass, what'd you do? You set up your camera on a tripod?
Set up on I just that one I just used my iPhone as well, because I had to do it in slow motion.
And so but the phone is on a tripod?
Yeah, on a tripod and behind me.
Do a slow motion mode.
Slow motion, yeah, exactly. I did it in like 240 frames per second through the lockbox, so it's nice, and so it comes out nice and smooth, and it looks like it's bouncing, right, and just like it would on the water. And then you go into same thing. Like I go and did it slow motion. The tripod behind me, throwing the rock into the lake. So I got the splash effect that I wanted to off that part of the shot. So there are 2 different shots in 2 different locations. And that's where the tricky part came is getting into After Effects after the fact and cropping out the lockbox and then kind of superimposing it on the water. Right. So it looks like it's bouncing on the water, creating the splashes. It looks like it's bouncing on the water. And then of course the big reveal is that I can't skip a lockbox. You know what I mean? And that was the whole point, is it looks like I can, because, I've got, the images of the lockbox, like they're skipping, and then, you pull it back and say, I can. And I've done a few of those actually super successful. There's another one where I tried to jump over a sign, and it shows me like literally trying to like jump. Like I've got the images of me jumping over the sign and crash into the sign. I'm like, I can't jump over a sign. Like, what are you talking about? Right. So yeah. So same kind of idea where you take a couple of shots and you put them together is what it boils down to. Yeah.
So there's a bunch of editing that you're doing to put these things together, which makes sense based on what you're coming up with. So, I mean, how much time does this type of stuff take you from the idea of like, okay, I've got this, I've conceptualized what I want to do. Yep. I've now mapped out how I'm going to do it. Yep. Now I got to get to the location to do it. Then I got to come back and I got to edit it. What kind of time are you spending like lockbox video? What kind of time did that take you?
Lockbox video. That was in between appointments, believe it or not. I had about an hour gap. I had an hour gap. And you know what? I've always got a tripod in my car. And we're sometimes blessed, sometimes cursed with these things that are attached to us all the time, called our phones, that have great cameras on them. So I've always got some kind of mobile editing kit with me at some point, some kind of mobile video kit. So, I was in between appointments. I saw a lake. I'm like, hey, I got an idea. I'm going to do one of those I can't do this kind of videos. And so I had a lockbox in my trunk. I went out and it was literally between appointments that I did this. I took the shot. Now, when you get back to the editing part of things, your first time, you're probably talking I could pump that out in an hour easily. But some more complicated ones, especially if it's techniques that I haven't done before, you could be a couple of hours for sure. Before, and sometimes I've been frustrated with it and had to, take a mental break and come back the day after and finish it off too. So, but I do schedule time for that. And that's another part of it too, is
that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, are you actually scheduling? Like when you say it's in between appointments, but like, are you scheduling? Because when we talk about foundation of just executing on anything in business,
yes,
it comes. I mean, there's only so much time in a day, and by no means. And so everybody fully understands right now. This is why we're asking so specifically to Adam, right? Who's doing some wicked stuff. And again, if you're going like, what are you talking about? You obviously haven't looked at his Instagram account yet, so be sure to do that. But I will say, to spend all day trying to put together one video or one post on Instagram, you are wasting your time. Yeah. So it's got to be scheduled in, which I imagine you've started to figure out how to compartmentalize this whole thing.
Well, and that's the thing too. So, what I'll do just to break it down. So like once a month, I have a content calendar, and that's something that I recommend for anybody who wants to, post consistently on Instagram. Yep. You need to have a content calendar. And that content calendar is going to change depending on, what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So, step number one, define your brand, define what you want to do as, like what you want to be known for. Step number two is to grab yourself a content calendar and like literally throw as many ideas as you can on it, because there's going to be some days that you're just not going to have time to fill out certain parts of the content. And, there's going to be, ideas that on there that are a little bit quicker. The ones that are a little bit slower. And we know what real estate's like. I mean, there's in the spring market, like forget about it. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to have time to create these incredible videos. So what I'll do is I'll have that content calendar. I'll have it all kind of mapped out for my next 4 or 5 weeks of things that I want to do. And then I'll normally set aside some time, maybe on a Sunday morning when I know it's going to be a little bit quiet, and I'll go and I'll start to get the footage that I need. So if I've got like 5 or 6 different shots that I want to do, I'll set up around the city and I'll, spend 2 or 3 hours just getting that footage, whether it's pictures or whether it's videos or whatever the case is. And then it's a matter of going back and editing throughout the month. And I'll do that throughout the month. So once I've got all the footage, that's a good chunk of the problem solved right there. And then going back to edit, again, it really depends on the complexity of the video. And to be honest, I've got a bunch of ideas that I just haven't been able to execute yet because I haven't had the time to do it. So there's footage out there that's not yet released, coming soon, so yeah.
Okay. So with all that, then you've got some pre-planning that's going in. There's some scheduling happening. I love the step, the first step of define your brand. Like, who are you? Yeah. What is it you're trying to put out there? And then if we talk about, then creating that content calendar, and I think it's huge. And I'll tell you, for me as well, we put out a ton of content, as everybody knows. A lot of that, again, there's a lot of scheduling that goes into that. There's a lot of pre-planning that goes into that. And then there's also a lot of off the cuff that goes into that. Yeah. It's got to be a mix of everything, but I'll tell you.
See, and that's the other thing too, Dave. Like, I mean, I don't always stick to the content calendar. Right. I mean, maybe something pops up and it's like, that's hilarious, I'm going to try that. And like, that content calendar is there for me to have an idea to fall back on the days that I don't have an idea. Right. So, if I wake up and I'm like, oh, I really want to try that. Or, the other thing I do, and I'd recommend everybody, I mean, follow people that you like on Instagram and TikTok and wherever, YouTube, anywhere else you can. Like I spend at least half an hour, 40 minutes a day, which I kind of call discovery hour, where I'll sit there and I'll literally, or inspiration hour, whatever you want to call it, and I'll flip through TikToks, I'll flip through Reels, and I'll be looking for ideas and looking for trends and things that are interesting. And then say, okay, can I relate that back to real estate? Can I relate that back to my city? Can I relate that back to, like, that's, for me, that's my brand is I want to be known as the guy who's really into Sudbury, and is, creative with real estate. So, I mean, those are the two things I'm always looking to relate back to. So
love that. Did everybody pick up on that? Adam, that was huge, man. That was wicked. Is that you're spending time, you've actually dedicated time to go in and scroll.
You have to.
What people are doing. What's trending? What songs are trending? What's happening? What are people doing?
And it doesn't have to be like full attention. Like, honestly, in commercials, when you're watching whatever you're binge watching, like, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, at night, you're going to be sitting on the couch anywhere. Grab your phone, scroll through it with the intent of saying, okay, I'm going to look for one idea. And then at least for next month's content calendar, or, tomorrow's, whatever it is, you've got an idea, write it down. write it down, put it down.
But now you've even said, like, not only that, but it's now, how can I spin that to make it about me, my community, my city, right? It's like changing up the theme of it, changing up almost the be all end all message, but using the structure of what you see.
Yeah. Like I said before, I'm not trying to
point for everybody.
Just trying to relate the script to what I'm doing. Right. And that's what it is, so. Yeah.
Now, talking routine and talking scheduling, going through your feed, we talk about finding your brand. You certainly have got a branded feed.
Cool.
And I don't know, I imagine that's very much on purpose. I don't know if there's an actual routine to it. Like some people, they tile their feed. Where it's like video, quote, picture, video, quote, picture, etc.
I've done that for the longest time. That's hard to do.
It's tough to keep up with for sure. And I think too, though, as you get into that groove, you started to really program your audience. And there's something very good about programming your audience. This is what our favorite TV shows do to us. And I've brought this up before, but like Hockey Night in Canada is at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday night. It's not on Sunday or Monday, right? It's Saturday night. The Mindshare podcast live comes out Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Like we do these things. When it comes to the feed, I sometimes look and go, it's almost too predictable. I know what I'm about to get. I lose interest in scrolling. Whereas if it consistently is new, then there's a little bit more interest in continuing to scroll the feed. But have you tried to build in that routine of like specifics, or is it just, again, there's certain bogeys I want to hit, but then I'm going to have some fun with this thing throughout the month?
Yeah. So, I mean, I do have, I call them content pillars. So those are things that I will say like, okay, this works for me, right? So whether it's a carousel, or a creative video, I generally try and leave my creative videos for the weekend because I have a little more time to edit them. So, I mean, just in general, I'll try and put those on a Saturday, for example. But it doesn't always have to be that way. And there's like, I'm not one of those people that has to, like, I don't think it's going to be hard and fast rules that you have to post this on Monday at this time. Like you said, there's something to be said for complacency too, where, it almost looks like it's a scheduled post and it's automatic. And like you said, you become too predictable, right? So yes, I've tried that. I've tried tiling my feed. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to stay fresh and if you follow your content calendar, you'll be fine. Now, that being said, I do try and put out 2 to 3 reels per week. So that's, it doesn't have to be any specific day. It'll be whatever day I have it. 2 or 3 carousels per week, which gets me up to somewhere between 5 and 6 posts. And, maybe I'll throw an image feed in there as well. Topics will be different. Obviously, some will be a little bit more real estate-y, some will be a little bit more about the city, some will be a little bit more personal. But a nice mix in there of those things. So to say that I have a schedule, not necessarily, but I do have goals of per week, how many of different media I want to attack. Right. So yeah.
Okay. I like that. And that was gold for everybody. I hope you guys listen to that. And if you didn't, go back 15 seconds and re-listen to that part right there. That was good. Seriously. Now to that, you mentioned 3 reels. Is that the only type of video you're doing with social right now, or with Insta specifically?
Pretty much, yes. I mean, other than my stories, of course. I mean, stories are things you got to kind of.
I wanted to ask you, do you focus on stories as well? I mean, I follow. I'm trying to get everybody to understand though where your focus is, right?
Yeah. So definitely stories. I use stories more as a tool for, following my everyday personal life. And I think that's kind of the point of stories. The other thing that's interesting too, is that, people, if you're going to be creating reels, when you share your reels to your story, those actually count as views for your reels as well, which is kind of cool. So, I mean, you get that extra little bump there. So please make sure that you share your reels to your story to help get more notice out of it. So that's important. Basically those are the videos that I'm doing right now for Instagram, because I can share them to my feed as well. Right. So if I'm doing a reel, I can share it to my feed. It's going to go through. I make sure that obviously the screen ratio makes sense, that, because you've got the 16:9 for the reels and then the 4:5. And I don't know why they don't make it all the same. That'd be great. Easier. Like, screw it, guys. Come on, Instagram, just make it all 4:5 or make it all 16:9. I don't care which one, just pick one. You know what I mean? So,
oh man, first it was like you go horizontal, then it was like, okay, go vertical, or no, then go square, then go vertical. Now it's like, okay, depending on which option on our platform you use, depends on what we want you to do for something.
I'll tell you right now, like when you put the text on, when you're creating a reel and you put the text on, there's those little blue lines that pop. Those are wrong. They're wrong. They're off. like you put the text there and it still gets cut off. So just be careful of where you
listen. Even if you go to Canva and Canva says it's an Instagram size story post, it still doesn't work.
Not. Look,
go to the Facebook side of things. You know, the cover photo.
Yeah.
You can load that same cover photo up to your desktop, go to your mobile, and it's too big for mobile.
Oh, of course.
How does Facebook not figure that stuff out for themselves? Anyways. Oh, go figure. Is Instagram owned by Facebook? Unbelievable.
Wow. No, it's owned by Meta now. You know that, right?
There you go. Yeah.
We're all going to be part of the
There's
metaverse.
a whole other podcast topic for another time.
I start doing videos in augmented reality. That'll be fun, right?
Oh man. So look, we talked about how to create these awesome Instagram videos. First, we looked at the fact that, again, when it comes to it, one of the big things you can do is you can scroll your Instagram feed or other people's Instagram Reels feed and just look at what people are doing. Yep. Collect some ideas that you think you can recreate, but recreate them under your branding, recreate them under your specifics to your audience. How can you spin that to be relevant to your audience? We talked about that. We looked at the fact that coming up with content, it's about batch creation and really having this content calendar. Scheduling the content and scheduling when you're going to do these things so that it does fit in and you can stick to some sort of schedule.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the editing process of it, which is certainly at this point probably the most complicated part of it. And I mean, you've just taken it to a whole different level.
I got to stop you for 1 second, Dave. Yeah. The editing part is by far the most complicated. Yep. But please, anybody listening, don't be intimidated. Don't be intimidated by that. I mean, it's not that bad. Like I said to the beginning, I'm just a regular guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's you can learn anything, and that's that's what I've said. From day one in my real estate business. Could I contract out my photography? Could I contract out my videos? Could I contract out my social media? Absolutely. But I want to be the guy that's like learning because I'm a why guy. That's who I am. Yeah. So at the end of the day, like, please don't be intimidated by the complexity of After Effects, or, I'd encourage you to get involved and give it a shot because, at the end of the day, you're going to come up with some great results and you're going to learn something. And it's so much more rewarding when you do it yourself. So,
okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Time is money.
Yeah.
Money is time.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking at that, then we could go and learn and take the time to learn.
Yeah.
We could go and pay for it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're coming out with an Instagram post.
Sure.
So what value, what benefit does that Instagram post bring to your business? And how can you attribute direct deals from this? Do you think this is just a brand build and a mind share thing for yourself? What is the why? Why would why guy? Why spend the time doing this? What's the purpose?
Well, I'll tell you right now, I closed on a deal yesterday that came exactly from Instagram, only from my Instagram videos. So that's, right there, I use two ends and whatever your end is in your city that you're dealing with right now, it pays for a lot of advertising, doesn't it? So
okay, but that, would you just focus all your efforts on Instagram now going, I've had success?
Absolutely not.
Okay, cool. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, of course not. No. But so why do I do this? I do it because, like I said, I wanted to make Instagram a little bit more exciting. I do get business from this, but what's cool about it, and again, we talked about this a little bit off camera before. I get, there's the likes, there's the comments and all that great stuff on Instagram. But I get people coming up to me in the city, and my city is 170,000 people. It's not huge. It's not little. It's somewhere in between. Where they'll be like, "Oh, you're that guy that makes those Instagram videos," and that to me is the best thing because we talked about putting ourselves in front of people. Well, when that person comes up to you and says, "Hey, I saw what you did. It's kind of cool," that's even better. That's mind share. Yeah, it is mind share, right? So, and that's what I'm talking about. So, I've got more people that have, I like I said, I work out, I do jujitsu. I go to the gym and there's people like, "Hey, how did you do that video? How did you do that video?" These are people that have nothing to do with real estate whatsoever, but they're talking to me about my Instagram feed. Or, I went to my Christmas dinner at with Sutton Group there last week, and there's realtors. I loved when you did this one. You were jumping off that and you're doing this. And I'm like that. And, so that to me is what makes it all worthwhile is, you get the virtual likes and the people, but when you get the face-to-face meetings and people come up and say, "Oh, like, I love what you did there." That to me makes me feel proud that, hey, I did something that's pretty cool and somebody's actually remembering it. Like you said, it's building mind share, right?
That is very cool, man. And good on you. Seriously, congrats on that. I think that is very special when people start to recognize that. And I think that that's something that we hear a lot from people is I want to be out there and I want people to recognize me. I want people to come up to me in a grocery store or somewhere and say, hey, man, that's really cool what you're up to. So big congratulations to you on that. And then to my question of why do you do it? Obviously, it's brought you back some deals, but it's also helping you learn. It's helping you educate yourself. It's helping you stand out and be different and kind of be this person that you want to be out there. And so all of this helps. But as we said multiple times today, it's not standalone.
No, exactly. And you know what? And just to tie up on that point, Dave, I think more than anything, the marketing, and we talked about marketing shifts and everything else as well. And I think especially marketing to millennials right now, being authentic is the most important part. And that's, I've seen, at least in my career, in my 15 years, a translation from people saying like, transition from people saying, it's about, who I am and what I do. I sold this many houses. I closed this many deals. I won these awards. I don't think that's as important as it used to be. I think more it's like they want somebody who they can trust and they want somebody who's authentic and real. And I think that's the most important part. And whatever you decide your brand to be and Instagram videos, it's about like being authentic and being yourself. And hopefully success comes after that. So, yeah.
Well, here, speaking of success, then I got to roll into this question right here. A real quick question here. Is there any apps or programs to use when you're new to video? Is there anything you might recommend to anybody right now? We got a Mindshare Master that
absolutely.
You were asking.
Absolutely. So, if I'm on the fly, InShot is one that you definitely want to pick up on your phone. So InShot is a great little app to slice and dice some videos. You can add some sound in there. Don't be shy. Pay for the premium part of it. There's a free version, but pay for the premium. It's not expensive and it's worth it. So InShot is one that I use frequently. Apart from that, like I said, almost everything I do is through the Adobe suite. So, if you've got $1,000 to invest, annually, then, I would recommend getting into the Adobe suite. Apart from that, there's also DaVinci Resolve. It's a good one. And then Final Cut Pro, which are both, alternatives to Premiere Pro. So those will get you started. For me, if you're going to do any of your own photography or you're going to do any of that own stuff, the $1,000 for the Adobe suite is easily worth it.
All right, cool. Very cool. And thanks for asking that, Larry. Or pardon me, David. So Adam, question to you here then.
Mm-hmm.
End of the day,
mm-hmm.
How do you know it's been a successful day for you?
In terms of Instagram? Are we talking Instagram or just?
I just mean in general. How do you know it's been a successful day in general?
You know what? If I go to bed and I've had a day where I can, I want to. This is going to sound real cheesy, but they talk about filling your cup, and I'm talking about I've done something for my family, I've done something for myself, and I've done something for my business. Then those are the three things that I'm looking to do at the end of the day, right? So, typically the thing I'm doing for myself, I'm having a good workout. I think it's super important to have a good workout every day. Make that your January 1 resolution, because I'm telling you guys, all this stuff goes hand in hand. If you got a good body, you got a good mind, and that's how it works. And then obviously, I love my kids. I love my wife. We cook dinner. We'll do something together. We have something, something where I played with them. We've done something together. That's a good day. And then of course, something for my business. And, something for my business is usually to create some cool content, to connect with a client that I haven't connected with in a while, to talk to somebody else, to show some houses, to get out there, to do some, something that I've done for my business. So at the end of the day, if I can go to bed and I say I've checked those 3 boxes, I'm real happy.
And once again, the answer still does not include the word money. Does everybody understand that? It did not include the word money. And that's a good thing, Adam. We have found that through anybody that answers that question. It's always about how are you helping others and how are you doing for others? And in this case, there's always going to be a little bit of how we do for us. but there's also how do we get out there and help? And again, we talked about that throughout the show today, of even being out there and volunteering and getting involved in the community and connecting with people, and sort of that big overall message of this is a relationship business. So it's about building relationships and again, being there and helping other people. So all that said, Ad, what last words or tips can you share so that everybody here who's tuned in live and or to the recording can use to help themselves get out there, grow their mindset, maybe improve their Instagram, but overall build a whole bunch of mind share to grow their business?
Well, I mean, I think, like I said, define a brand and become authentic. That's super important. So so define yourself, sit down. And if it's, we're getting close to New Year's resolution time, right? So I'd advise, January 1, if you're in the real estate industry, sit down and just, even if you've already got a good brand, go back and just think about it again. Just even for 2 seconds, say, am I comfortable with my brand? Am I comfortable with who I am? And what message am I putting out there? And then from there, get creative. I mean, and don't be shy about being creative. And that's what it was for me. I've grown my Instagram account, and it's not just about followers. It's about, engagement and all that stuff. But I've fourfold in the past, 12 months. And that's just from, not being shy about getting out there and trying some different stuff. So please get out there, be creative. That's what it is. Don't just, something better than nothing, but don't just post solds and just lists, try something different. So, yeah.
Great message. Very great message, man. And it obviously bodes well for you. It's showing in your Instagram account. Keep up all of the awesome stuff you're doing. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Best place is through that Instagram thing that we've been talking about at Adam Sells Homes. I'm also on other social media platforms under the same handle.
Awesome. I am going to echo that. And again, once again, suggest that everybody goes and follows Adam on Instagram at Adam Sells Homes. Definitely connect with him. He's a good dude. He understands marketing, which is right up my alley, hence the convo. Good person overall. And, you'll be able to see that he's doing some very, very cool stuff on Instagram, which certainly caught my eye. And I still got a lot more learning that I want to do and picking brains. But we've only got so much time here today. So Adam, I want to thank you very much once again for taking the time for the Mindshare podcast.
That was awesome. Thanks so much.
Appreciate you, man. You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com, and while you're on my site, make sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle for Realtors. This is a 31-page ebook packed with a ton of tips and tricks for you. Plus, there's a ready-to-go 90-day social media content counter to help you build more mindshare so that you can get more market share. And if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching to help you get to your next level, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a free consultation call to learn more about what you're looking to achieve and how I will help you do just that. Also, don't forget that our push to 100 is on. All you have to do, and this is super easy, is go to www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. And if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to once again thank Virginia Munden and the Buzz Conference for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure you connect with the Buzz Conference to get your tickets for Recharge 2022, taking place on January 13th at the Mississauga Living Arts Center. As I mentioned off the top of the show, the lineup for this one is loaded, and you are not going to want to miss it. So be sure to visit their website, www.thebuzzconference.com, and follow them on Instagram at The Buzz Conference to keep tabs on all of the awesome events they are always hosting, along with getting the latest copy of the Buzz digital magazine. I also want to thank Kids Keep in Touch Systems for sponsoring today's episode. If you haven't checked this out yet, just go to my site, mindshare101.com, and click on Marketing. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.